morning and welcome to episode 3 of British Dinosaurs. Now in this episode we're going to look at a dinosaur that was a part of the group of the largest creatures to ever walk the earth. Now these have been described as ground shaking and I can imagine they most certainly were. So let's get into it. Now this huge boulder here, for someone that just watches films and goes from fiction, might think that this might have been the size that a dinosaur egg was. But no, dinosaur eggs were actually the size of, for example, ostriches' eggs. And some would hatch out of this egg like that big and become one of the biggest creatures to ever walk the earth. And the dinosaur we're talking about today is within that group of dinosaurs, so let's get into it. Now in 1898 in Peterborough, by the Great Northern Railway, clay workers discovered fossils, and obviously these fossils were very large and they thought it must have belonged to a very, very big animal or dinosaur. Now the term dinosaur had already been used and discovered by this point. So what was this dinosaur and what was it called and how big was it? Now this particular dinosaur was a sauropod dinosaur. So as I mentioned, these were the largest creatures to ever walk the earth. Cetiosauriscus is today's dinosaur. Now Cetiosauriscus is very, very similar to a dinosaur called Cetiosaurus. Now at first these were thought to be of the same dinosaur. However, there were some small differences in certain areas of the anatomy. So Cetiosauriscus means whale lizard like meaning it's very, very similar to its predecessor Cetiosaurus. Now Cetiosauriscus was about 15 meters long and would have been about 3.5 meters, maybe 4 meters high at the hip. However, we only have the back end of the fossil of Cetiosauriscus. So we can only compare it to other sauropods similar in how high it could have held its head. Obviously, so how tall it would have been when its neck was fully extended up. Now, this dinosaur was originally attributed to the Diplodocus family, but it was then, this dinosaur had, for sauropod standards, it had a very long tail and very longer arms. I say arms, I know they walked on them, they were, a lot of people might refer to them as legs and feet, but they are classed as arms. For sauropod standards, it had longer arms and a longer tail. So it was then given to the genus of Mamenchisaurus. So this dinosaur was one of many sauropods that have walked Britain. Sorry, got to keep an eye out for the wildlife. Was one of many sauropods that did walk Britain, and there is a picture of the fossil, the specimen that they did find just before it was mounted in a museum. So if you search on Wikipedia Cetiosauriscus, you will see that picture and you will see roughly how big it was at the hip, because there are 2 people stood next to it. And this is just, like I said, this is one of many sauropods that did walk Britain. So how did they live? What did they eat? Well, let's talk about that. Now Cetiosauriscus, like all sauropods, would have literally just kind of patrolled the leaves and vegetation and fern cones and leaves in trees, and they would literally would spend most of their day eating, and they would probably consume around 2 tons of vegetation, which is a lot. So they would have had to eat a lot of this, all day just eating plants and leaves to fulfill that massive mass, that huge sauropod body. That's a lot of leaves. Now, although it would have been the larger sauropods that would have ate roughly around 2 tons of leaves and plants and vegetation, still, Cetiosauriscus would have still ate around 1 ton of leaves and plants to sustain that huge mass. Now imagine a person trying to eat that much food or that much salad. It's just, yeah, it's hard to get your head round, really. Now, there are not necessarily Cetiosauriscus, but there is a part of England that's referred to as the Jurassic coast, which you can actually see sauropod footprints. You find fossils there, you can see even dinosaur scats. It's one place I would love to visit and actually try and find something for myself. Now, Cetiosauriscus isn't a dinosaur that I've heavily looked up on until now. I know of other sauropods, a lot more, that did walk Britain, but for the sake of this video and this series, I wanted to talk about a dinosaur that even myself wasn't 100% clued up on. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video on British Dinosaurs episode 3, and please watch the others if you've not watched them, and wait for more videos to come. And if you're into cryptids and unknown creatures as well, please watch my videos and subscribe to my channel. And also, if you're into photography, please subscribe to my channel and follow me on social media. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, like I said, please subscribe and press the like button. Stay safe.